Toyota GR Corolla with the automatic transmission option. For this review, I'll just stick behind the wheel and we'll just focus on the driving aspect, because we've done a review on the manual not that long ago. We know all about the interior and all that sort of stuff, the boot space or lack thereof. Like, it's okay, you can put some bags in there or whatever. Rear seat space is a little bit tight as well compared with some rivals. And the only thing I don't like about the dashboard here is this big chunky bit sticks right out to form with the door trim. But I've actually hit my knee on that a couple of times getting in. Other than that, it's Toyota, so very practical minded. Lots of physical buttons still. Not everything is housed within a massive touchscreen. I like that, although it does stick up a little bit, and it is a pretty basic touchscreen. It's just more about the practicality, driving you to and from where you want to go. And then with the GR, you've got that underlying performance edge. I think it's a smart move of Toyota to offer an automatic, because as much as we all want a manual, we all say we want a manual, we ended up buying an automatic. So it's a smart move to offer both the manual and automatic. If you want to stay old school and go with a more raw driving experience, you've got the manual there. But if you can't drive manual or you're not interested in changing gears, then you've got this new automatic to choose from. It does make it a slightly more versatile vehicle. Like, you can drive this in traffic and so on and not have to constantly worry about putting the clutch in and changing gears and taking off and all that sort of stuff, which is fun, but you know, you might get sick of it if you're spending a lot of time in traffic and so on. But yeah, so it is a more practical option. In normal conditions, I've got it in the normal modes. I mean, I've got the stability control turned off because we'll put it into the sport mode in a minute and give it a proper thrashing. But in the normal modes, it is very conventional to drive. You don't have to do anything. It's not like a dual clutch where it rolls back a little bit on the hills and so on. This is just like a normal automatic Toyota Corolla, basically. You've just got heaps of torque and heaps of power when you put your foot down. The new model also bumps up torque, speaking of which, from 370 to 400 Newton meters. So you've got a little bit more sort of mid-range grunt, and you can feel the difference. Although it's hard to tell when you're jumping out of the manual into the automatic. So you'd have to try it in the manual, both the previous manual with the 370 and then jump into the new manual with 400. But it does feel, more effortless when you're just cruising around. You don't need to really wring its neck to experience some of its performance. And I think that's a good point too. Like, this feels quicker most of the time. And I reckon that over the 0 to 100, you'll probably get a quicker time in the manual, because you can, pretty much redline it and drop the clutch kind of thing, or not quite drop the clutch, but, just release it very quickly and you'll get off to a leaping start. Whereas this, it doesn't get off to a catapulting start. So it's going to be a tiny bit slower, but I reckon cross country, it's going to be quicker, because you don't have to waste time literally moving the gear lever, putting the clutch in and all of that. But yeah, when you're driving just in normal conditions like this, it does feel easier to drive. And you can actually, I'll put my foot down a little bit, you can actually drive quick without having to, fumble around with a gear stick. It's also easier to left foot brake as well. So come into a corner, you can be hard on the brakes, getting the weight off the back wheels, poke it in, and then straight on the power. Whereas with the, you can do that with a manual as well. You just got to, toss between the clutch and the brake pedal. Excellent front end grip from the Corolla GR, I reckon. Like, it really bites, and then it's got good mid corner grip. And if you set the car up right, you can actually kick the tail out a little bit. You do have different torque split ratios that you can choose from using this drive mode toggle down here. You've got track, gravel, and normal. The track mode, all of them change the distribution between front to rear torque split. I'll flash up the exact figures now. I'll leave it in the track mode and then we'll flick it over to the manual. But just before we get going, the automatic is rated on the official combined cycle test 9.5, where the manual is 8.4, which is, pretty curious really, because why is the new automatic, this is a pretty new gearbox, why is this chewing more fuel? I don't quite understand that, but anyway. So with the paddles, you can just prompt downshift straight away. Upshifts are very quick as well. Yeah, this becomes a really fast little car because you don't have to worry about fumbling around with the gearbox. It feels like it, well, sorry, it sounds like it's a little bit louder in the automatic mode. Maybe they've changed the exhaust pipe slightly, just with the routing and all that, and it just changes the sound because it seems like it's a little bit louder. And there's some turbo whistling and sneezing going on, more so than in the manual. You probably won't be able to hear it on camera very well, but and sometimes when you just sort of half back off, it has this really nice sort of wastegate dosing sound, like this really faint turbo whistle, like an old school car. It's very cool. Whereas the manual, I've noticed, didn't do it as much. There's still a bit of a sneeze when you back off, but yeah, just not as much as this. Yeah, it's seriously quick, this thing. From point to point on a road like this, where you want a bit of suspension travel and you want all-wheel drive grip, it's just pouncing between the corners. And it's lots of fun. Like, this is not intimidating to drive. Full power. It's yeah, awesome traction. There we go. Just a little wastegate sound. Aside from the torque split modes down here, you've also got custom normal and sport mode for the sort of overarching powertrain. And then in manual mode, it will bounce off the rev limiter. It won't actually upshift automatically, which is great because mainly on the racetrack, you could be coming up to a corner and it's just about to upshift, and if it automatically does, well then that's bad because you straight away want to downshift as you're braking into the corner and ready to punch it out. Whereas with the red line, you can just bounce off the rev limiter for a little bit, even going around a corner like that. You don't want it to upshift mid-corner. You'd rather just sort of keep the revs high and even bounce off the rev limiter a little bit if you have to. Yeah, awesome fun. I think the suspension is probably one of the best parts because on a road like this where it's quite bumpy, it just absorbs the bumps. It doesn't throw me around. It's not bouncing around at all. I guess that's where its kind of rally inspiration comes from. Overall, great package, as it always has been. I'm so glad that Toyota offers a hot hatch, a couple of hot hatches now, the GR Yaris and the GR Corolla, and now with both automatic and manual. So you've got full variety there. What would I choose, the manual or automatic? It's actually pretty hard. My inner driving enthusiast would go with the manual, but I'm getting old now, and I kind of think I would almost choose this automatic because it's just so punchy and direct. You still have like dual clutch speed pretty much in terms of the downshifts and upshifts. It'll bounce off the rev limiter and all that, so full manual control. But you've got that practicality there, so you can just cruise around in D and just, yeah, you don't have to worry about shifting gears. Just show you the kind of kick down here. Yeah, it really hauls. I really don't know what I would buy. I think I would buy the automatic. Yeah, but then I'd say to myself, why did I buy the automatic? Why didn't I buy the manual? You know, it's actually really hard. But main thing is Toyota offers both. I think that's the best part about it, that you've got the option to pick which gearbox you want. All right, let's head out now to do the performance test and see what it goes like.